Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cradaville with Hudson Inc. And today we're going to go over how to look at the field data collected by Smartapply through Job Insights. So, Job Insights are going to do just that. We're going to be able to see all kinds of tree information, application information, as well as a bunch of graphs and other visual aspects that we can use to analyze that data. So, the first thing we're going to want to do is to go to the Smartapply web platform at app.smartapply.com, and then we are going to go over to our upper right corner, the three dots, and go to Job Insights. You'll see this job pops up automatically in my scenario here because it is an assigned job as the status. It is not completed. If it were a completed job, nothing would show up here. To search those completed jobs, we would then have to go through some of these search parameters to find those. So we can search by site, by boundary, or through a date range. A lot of the jobs that I have completed in here were completed back in September. So you can also use this limit completed jobs to those in the last 30 days. If I were to then make these parameters 120 days and then search, you will see that I have a bunch of completed jobs in here. The first one up here being a job that was completed sometime in the end of September. We will use this as our example. So once we see the job header here, over to the right will be this little I. When we click on that, it's going to take us into a job detail for that specific job. So we'll have all the information that we need as far as what was sprayed, how much, when it was applied, and then a summary of all of the application aspects, how many gallons were applied, how many acres, our speed, all that good stuff. And then we're also going to have these two graphs over here for our productivity, whether you're idling or working. And then we also have the Smartapply data on the system itself. Was the Smartapply in auto mode or was it in off mode? Right, this one's about 70% in auto, 30% in off. And when we see the map, you'll see why that is. You can then break it down on our headers to go into the actual boundary to see in that boundary what took place. You can see by operator, give a little bit more information on how the operator performed, as well as tanks, if we had multiple tanks, or we can also analyze crop data. Crop data is going to give us more information about the actual trees. As you can see, we have total crop count. We also have total volume applied, average volume per tree, as well as the average height and average width of the tree. So as we go through the orchard or the field, wherever our crop is standing that we are using Smartapply, we will be able to get a bunch of information from the LiDAR as it constantly scans, picking up those trees or those vines or whatever they are to give us more information. So this little graph to the right here will show us a lot of that information. So if we look at this top crop height graph, we will see that we had 52 trees that were between 12 and 15 feet tall, and we had about six that were between 15 and 18 foot tall. And we also have some line graphs here to show some trends in the field as far as what the average height was compared to the count, as well as the average volume applied. We do the same thing for width and crop volume. So, nice little visual there. Now, if we go back to the job list again, and we search through our parameters, reset them back to our 120 days, we get back to our job. If we go into the site itself, we will actually be able to see a lot of this information in a map view. So you'll see that we'll pull up the actual boundary of where we were. So, like I said before, we were having Smartapply on about 70% of the time, which is going to be these green lines. And then these blue lines is where we had Smartapply off, but we were transporting, going back to fill up, going to one spot of the orchard that we were before we stopped. So there is that tracking information that is included in there. But we can also highlight crop data. So if we toggle this switch, we then see all these little dots pop up. So all the data we had for the crop, like tree height and width, will show up on a map view as far as how tall that tree was, how wide it was, and what the total volume applied was. So you can kind of look at each individual aspect. We can also run reports on the left here for rate. So we can see which trees got maybe a heavier rate versus a lighter rate, maybe leaning towards maturity of the tree or foliage of the tree. We can also run reports on speed. So if you're questioning your operator's efficiency in the field as far as speed and how fast he was transporting back and forth or whatever you're looking for, we can get a speed graph based on where he was. And then also a big one to look at is savings. So we can look at a savings map that'll show us, between each tree, Smartapply system was off as far as not actuating any spray, so that we were seeing 100% savings there. And when we get into the majority of the trees, we're somewhere in the 40 to 60% savings. And some trees that were larger or maybe had a more dense foliage were a little bit less savings. You can also run a report on the operator, but because there's only one operator, there's not going to be too much different insight into the job. And then we also have all of our details down here that we saw in the overall job insight, as far as the gallons applied, the counts, the averages, all listed in here for a nice view. As always, please let us know if you have any questions, and thank you for your business.